So, you're still playing with your little website. Uncle Richard's voice dripped with condescension as he carved the Thanksgiving turkey. When are you going to get a real job like your sister? I gripped my water glass tighter, forcing a polite smile. Dataflow isn't just a website, Uncle Richard. We're developing AI-driven data analytics solutions For what? Teenagers sharing cab videos. My sister Amanda smirked from across the table, adjusting her expensive Cartier bracelet, a bonus gift from her investment banking job. Welcome to another Chen family holiday dinner, where my tech startup was the perpetual punchline. My name is Michael Chen, and at 26, I was the family disappointment. Not because I'd failed at anything, but because I'd chosen to build something of my own instead of following the traditional path of corporate success. Michael's just going through a phase, my mother chimed in, passing the mashed potatoes. All young people want to be the next Mark Zuckerberg these days. If only they knew that Facebook's development team had actually reached out last month, interested in our machine learning algorithms. But I'd learned long ago not to share my small victories with family. They'd only find new ways to diminish them. How many users did you say you had? My cousin Stephen asked, not looking up from his phone. 50? 100? We crossed 2 million active users last month, I said quietly. Probably all bots, Amanda laughed. No offense, little brother, but if your idea was any good, wouldn't some real company have bought it by now? The irony of her statement made me want to laugh. Instead, I took another bite of turkey, thinking about the email sitting in my inbox, the one from Google's acquisition team, with a number that would change everything. But they wouldn't know about that until tomorrow. After dinner, I escaped to my old bedroom, now converted into my mother's sewing room. Family gatherings always sent me here, seeking refuge among the familiar scents of fabric softener and childhood memories. My phone buzzed. A message from Lily, my co-founder and best friend since college. Final paperwork signed. Press release goes out at 9 a.m. tomorrow. You ready for this? Ready to prove everyone wrong. I've been ready for this moment my entire life. The journey had started 4 years ago in my cramped studio apartment. I was fresh out of MIT, turning down six-figure job offers that would have made my family proud. Instead, I chose to pursue an idea that had been brewing since sophomore year. You're throwing away your future, my father had said when I told him my plans. Big companies offer stability, prestige. What can your little website offer? What indeed? I opened my laptop, checking Dataflow's analytics one last time. The numbers still amaze me, 2 million users, growing by thousands each day. Our AI algorithms were revolutionizing how businesses understood their data, making complex analytics accessible to everyone. Another message popped up, this time from David, our lead developer. Google's tech team finished the final review. They're calling it revolutionary. Still can't believe this is happening. Neither could I sometimes. The last 4 years felt like a lifetime compressed into endless days and sleepless nights. Every step had been a battle, not just against market forces and technical challenges, but against the constant drumbeat of family doubt. I remembered the first Christmas after starting Dataflow. Amanda had just received her first bonus at Goldman Sachs. $100,000. My mother had exclaimed, hugging her. That's our girl, making the family proud. Meanwhile, I was living on ramen noodles, pouring every penny into server costs and development tools. At least get a part-time real job, my father had suggested. Something to fall back on when this website thing fails. But I had believed in Dataflow too much to divide my attention. I'd seen how frustrated small business owners were with existing data analytics tools, how the complexity and cost put crucial insights out of reach for most companies. Our solution was different. We built an AI system that could analyze business data in real time, presenting insights in clear, actionable ways. No PhD required. The first version was rough, but it worked. A few local businesses tried it and loved it. Word spread. Soon we had 100 users, then 1,000. My phone buzzed again, this time a message from my father. Your mother's worried about you. That tech company in Singapore is still hiring. VP position. Good benefits. I stared at the message, shaking my head. Even now, they couldn't see what was right in front of them. Downstairs, I could hear my relatives talking, their voices carrying through the heating vents. Such a waste of potential, Uncle Richard was saying. Top of his class at MIT, And what does he do? Plays with computers all day. Remember when he turned down that job at Microsoft? Amanda added. Dad nearly had a heart attack. I smiled, remembering that day. Microsoft had offered an impressive package, high salary, stock options, prestige, everything my family valued. But I'd seen something they hadn't, a gap in the market, a problem that needed solving, and a way to solve it that nobody else had tried. The first year was the hardest. Every family gathering became an inquisition. How much money have you lost on this experiment? Uncle Richard would ask. When are you going to grow up and join the real world? Amanda would chime in. Even my mother's friends got in on the act. Such a shame, they'd whisper at parties. He was such a promising boy. But slowly, things had started changing. Our user base grew. Major companies started noticing our technology. Venture capitalists began calling. 6 months ago, we'd raised our first major funding round, $10 million at a $50 million valuation. I hadn't told my family. They wouldn't have understood, would have found some way to turn it into another criticism. My phone buzzed one more time. An email from Google's acquisition team. Final confirmation. Press release scheduled for 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Congratulations again on building something extraordinary. Extraordinary. Not bad for a little website. I walked back downstairs just as Amanda was showing off pictures from her recent Maldives vacation. Another perk of her banking career. You should come next time, Michael, she said with fake sweetness. Oh wait, can you even afford it with your, she made air quotes, startup salary? I checked my watch. 12 hours until the press release. Actually, I said, gathering my coat, I should head home. Big day tomorrow. Oh, my mother perked up. Did you finally decide to apply for real jobs? Something like that. Outside, the November air felt crisp and clean. I drove home to my modest apartment, the same one I lived in since starting Dataflow. I could have afforded better months ago, but it had become a symbol of my commitment, a reminder of where this journey started. Lily was waiting inside, laptop open on my coffee table. We'd given most of the team the week off, but she'd insisted on being here. I still can't believe this is real, she said, scrolling through the final acquisition documents. $300 million. Your family's going to lose their minds. I sat down heavily on my worn couch. They're going to think it's a mistake, or a joke, or both. Then they're in for one hell of a surprise. She grinned. Want to practice your I told you so speech? But I didn't want revenge, not really. What I wanted was something more fundamental, recognition. Not just of Dataflow's success, but of the validity of choosing your own path. My phone was already filling with messages, reporters who'd gotten wind of tomorrow's announcement, investors offering congratulations, employees excited about their stock options. But one message made me pause, an old email from my grandfather, sent just before he passed away 2 years ago. Michael, everyone sees the bamboo when it towers over the garden. Nobody remembers the years it spent growing strong roots underground. Keep building your roots. The growth will come. He had been the only one who never questioned my choice, who saw beyond the little website to the vision behind it. Tomorrow, everyone would see what he had seen all along. At exactly 9 o'clock a.m., everything changed. I sat in my apartment, watching multiple screens as the news broke across different platforms. TechCrunch was first. Google acquires Dataflow and $300 million deal, marking major AI analytics breakthrough. Then came the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Business Insider, each headline making the surreal feel more real. My phone started buzzing nonstop, but I waited. The most important reactions would come soon enough. Lily refreshed her Twitter feed. You're trending. #Dataflow is exploding. At 9:07, the first family text arrived, from Amanda. Is this some kind of joke? Google didn't really buy your little website. Then Uncle Richard. There must be a mistake. $300 million? That's impossible. My mother called 3 times before I finally answered. Michael? Her voice shook. There are reporters outside our house. They're asking about you, about Dataflow. What's happening? I took a deep breath. Remember that little website everyone's been mocking? Google just bought it. The press release went out 7 minutes ago. Silence. But that's not possible. You never said. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. Or would you have found another way to dismiss it as playing around with computers? More silence. Then my father's voice, he must have taken the phone. Son, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Dad. The numbers speak for themselves. After hanging up, I turned to Lily. Ready for the press conference? She grinned. Born ready, though I still think you should have gone with my suggestion for the announcement. What local family's black sheep becomes tech millionaire, surprises everyone except himself. Has a nice ring to it. The Google press conference was scheduled for 11 a.m. at their downtown office. By the time we arrived, the sidewalk was packed with reporters. Cameras flashed as we made our way inside. Susan Chen, Google's VP of Acquisitions, met us in the lobby. Ready to meet the press, Michael? They're particularly interested in how you developed the core algorithm. And she smiled. How you kept this so quiet. The next hour was a blur of questions, technical explanations, and forward-looking statements. I described Dataflow's mission, making complex data analytics accessible to everyone, explained our AI's unique approach to pattern recognition, outlined how Google's resources would help scale our technology globally. Then came the personal questions. Mr. Chen, is it true you started this company right out of college? Did you really turn down jobs at Microsoft and Amazon to build Dataflow? How does it feel to be one of the youngest tech founders to achieve an exit of this size? I answered professionally, but my mind kept drifting to all those family dinners, all those dismissive comments, all those suggestions to get a real job. My phone buzzed again. Amanda. The partners at Goldman are asking me about my tech genius brother. Since when are you a genius? This isn't fair. I ignored it. After the press conference, Lily and I took our team out for lunch. These were the people who had believed in the vision, who had worked countless late nights and weekends to make it reality. To Dataflow, I raised my glass. And to everyone who saw beyond the little website. The celebration was interrupted by a commotion at the restaurant's entrance. My entire family had arrived. Parents, Amanda, Uncle Richard, everyone. Michael, my mother rushed forward, looking flustered. Why didn't you tell us? All this time. Would it have made a difference? I asked. Would you have stopped calling it a waste of time? Uncle Richard stepped forward, his usual confidence gone. We were wrong. I was wrong. What you've built, it's extraordinary. Now you see it. I nodded. Now that Google validates it. But you know what? I didn't need Google's validation. I knew what we were building mattered. I just needed the space to build it. Amanda hung back, looking uncomfortable. Her Cartier bracelet suddenly seemed less impressive compared to what her unsuccessful brother had achieved. The reporters, she said finally, they want to interview me about you, about growing up with a tech visionary. I couldn't help but laugh. And what will you tell them? About how you mocked my work? About all the times you told me to get a real job? She had the grace to look ashamed. My father cleared his throat. Son, we were proud of you. Now you are, I said quietly. But I'm not doing this for your pride, Dad. I'm doing it because I believed in something, even when no one else did. Later that evening, after the family had left and the celebrations had died down, I sat in my apartment looking at old photos. One in particular caught my eye. My grandfather and me at my MIT graduation. Build something that matters, he had told me that day. And don't let anyone tell you what matters looks like. My phone buzzed with another message, this time from a young entrepreneur I'd mentored. You did it, Michael. You showed us all that's possible. That's when I realized something important. Success wasn't about proving my family wrong. It was about proving that innovation doesn't always look like what people expect. That sometimes a little website can change how businesses understand their world. The next morning, I walked into Google's offices not as the family disappointment, but as the founder of a technology that would help millions of businesses make better decisions. Amanda called again. The partners want to invest in tech startups now. They're asking if I can introduce them to you. Funny how that works, I replied. Yesterday I was wasting my time. Today I'm a valuable connection. I'm sorry, she said softly. We all are. I know, but you know what's better than an apology? Learning from this. Next time someone tells you they have a dream that doesn't fit your definition of success, maybe remember the little website that turned into something big. The following Sunday, the family gathered again. This time at my apartment. The tone was different. Instead of mocking questions about my work, they wanted to understand. Instead of dismissive comments, they listened. Uncle Richard even admitted he'd started using Dataflow for his own business. I should have seen it sooner, he said. The potential was there all along. My mother hung back until everyone else had left. I kept all the articles, she said, pulling out a folder of newspaper clippings. About the acquisition. About you. I'm going to frame them. I hugged her. Frame them as a reminder, Mom. That success doesn't always wear a suit and tie. Sometimes it wears coding hoodies and believes in a vision others can't see yet. A year later, data flows technology had been integrated into Google's core products, helping millions of businesses worldwide. The little website had become a cornerstone of modern business analytics. Amanda quit her banking job to start her own tech company. Uncle Richard became an angel investor in startups. My parents learned to ask different questions at family gatherings. Not when will you get a real job, but what are you building? And me? I kept my modest apartment, though I could afford much more. It reminded me of where this journey started, with a vision, a laptop, and the courage to ignore those who couldn't see what I saw. Because sometimes the biggest successes start with a little website that everyone else mocks, until Google calls, and then they all want to know how you did it.